Week 7 of the NFL season is here, and we've got your Carolina Panthers New York Football Jets preview. Let's go.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, semi-exciting matchup this week, at least for Carolina Panthers fans who can sense and feel the potential to have a winning record. Folks, something that just hasn't been here in the Carolinas in quite a long time. A lot of folks excited about this game, but I will tell you, and one of the storylines we're going to talk about is the potential for this to be a trap game for the Carolina Panthers. I do not believe this is a trap game. By definition, a trap game is a game where you have a team that is heavily favored, that's looking ahead to an opponent, in the future, likely the next week or the next game. In this case, for the Carolina Panthers, they have proven they have not earned any right to do that whatsoever. So I don't think they're going to be taking the New York Jets lightly. I don't think they're going to be looking ahead to the Buffalo Bills and think that they've got this under control. I look for them to get locked in this week, and as Rico would like them to do, buckle up as we travel to New York. They have to exercise some demons here. Carolina Panthers have struggled on the road. Doesn't matter who it is. They haven't been able to get over the hump. They've hurt themselves quite a few times turnover-wise this season when they've been on the road. Undefeated at home, but now's an opportunity for the Panthers to get back to their winning ways. Sitting at 4-3, and then once you're at 4-3, and yes, I know you look back at the last 3 games, there's potential that not a single one of those teams make the playoffs. However, given the state of where the Carolina Panthers are, if they can start building on that momentum, you then turn to Buffalo, and we as fans can do that right now, start thinking about Buffalo and Green Bay and the potential to knock off at least one of those. Folks, Panthers are going to be sitting in a lot of conversations. Here we are in October. You hope this continues. We've all said we just want the Panthers to be in the hunt in November and December this year. That's something that we have not had. But without further ado, we're going to get into our normal breakdown, folks. Same as we do it. I will add a note that this week we're doing the same thing, but I may go back and post some of this content on YouTube as standalone videos. I know this is long content for me, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, whatever it ends up being. It's longer than I normally do for 10, 15-minute segments, so we may shrink it down. But let's go ahead so I make sure that we do stay on track. And let's get right into this, folks. Carolina Panthers, New York Jets. We do this every time. We take a look at the coaching staff. We talk about what is actually going on, any storylines, any headlines. As of right now, Dave Canales looking to be more and more the part of the head coach, something that I told Panthers fans after week 2 that we got to calm down. It's going to be okay. He's continuing to prove that week in and week out that he has the potential, not only as a play caller, but as the head coach of this football team. Brad Idzik starting to make his name known along with Harold Goodwin as they are key components of the run game and the pass game that we've been seeing. We heard Dave Canales talk about it in his presser this week, calling them out specifically. They're keeping tabs on what have we ran, what have we not ran, what are the coverages, how does this look? And, of course, with the input from Mike Berkovicki, say that correctly, who's up in the booth watching things unfold. He's the assistant quarterback pass game specialist. We know traveling, and Dave Canales talks about this, a lot of leadership to lean on, a Jim Caldwell, guys that have been there, that have done that. Again, Harold Goodwin, who's been around the league. They are looking at everything this week. Carolina Panthers know that they've struggled on the road. They know they haven't been able to get over the hump. So now they're taking this as an opportunity to just figure it out. How can they figure out what they're doing? What do they need to change to get over the hump? And this is a prime opportunity to do that when we talk about a New York Jets team that is coming back from London. So travel involved there, likely out with their top target and potentially their number 2 target as well. Justin Fields, who hasn't been great, but hasn't thrown an interception, but they're allowing a lot of pressure. It's a good game for the Panthers to get right. And it's a game where if I'm them and they don't have to win 30-0, but ideally you don't want this game to be close in the fourth quarter, just given the state of where the Panthers are as a team. You want to see them get a lead, maintain it, play football, run the football successfully, which we've seen, lean into that, get out of there 4-3 and healthy, and then start preparing for the Buffalo Bills to come into town. Last thing I'll say, a lot of praise for Ejiro Evero, who really has turned this team around. One thing that I'll note, and there are people who are not sold on him completely. I get it. I think he is making a turn in the right direction. And Panthers, all things considered, are going to have a decision to make heading into next year with the status of Evero. And is he going to be here? Is he going to get a head coaching gig somewhere? A lot of that to unfold. It's early. A little early to talk about it. And, of course, we'll tip our caps to Tracy Smith running the special teams unit, which outside of some bad coverage against the New England Patriots has been relatively good units this season for the Panthers. Hey, we turn our attention to the New York Jets staff led by Aaron Glenn, offensive coordinator Tanner Engstrand, defensive coordinator very familiar to folks here in the Carolinas, which is none other than Steve Wilks, and special teams coordinator Chris Banjo. I will say this, I really like Aaron Glenn for this job for the Jets. I know things aren't off to the greatest start if you are a New York Jets fan, but to me, from the outside looking in, I think you got to give him time in the same way the Carolina Panthers had to give Dave Canales time. Get in, establish the culture that you want to establish. I think from what I've seen from afar, the type of leader that he is, the respect that he demands, and the way that he calls people out, doesn't shy away from it as far as his expectations for this team and what they have to do. I'm sold on it. Now, I know, again, you got to start winning. You got to show some form of improvement. For the sake of the Carolina Panthers, I hope that isn't this week. I hope they don't figure it out this week. It is going to be a tough task for them. Speaking of a tough task, let's talk about this game in a little more detail, as well as some of the history, and we'll go back and look at the games here in just a second. Carolina Panthers, we know, 3-3. New York Jets, 0-6. Carolina leads the all-time series 5-3, so they're 5-3 all-time, and they have won 4 of the last 5. Dave Canales' record as a head coach, 8-15. That's about 35% win percentage. Aaron Glenn sitting at 0-6, trying to find his first win as a head coach. I think it's going to happen. Like I said, I just hope it is not this week. Your head referee is Brad Rogers. We're going to talk about the 2 games for these teams in just a minute, recapping what we saw in week 6. There's got a win for the Panthers and a loss for Denver. All right, let's move on. Take a look at, like we said, those last 5 matchups. Panthers winning in 2021, losing in 2017. And if I recall, the 2021 was that the Sam Darnold year? Things run together and blur, but the Sam Darnold year after we had acquired him. So I remember there was a stretch where the Panthers had that, and I think the next year they opened up with the Browns after acquiring Baker Mayfield. That used to be a trend. Funny how all that stuff plays out. They won 35-17, or 27, excuse me, in 2017, 30-20. Back in 13, their last loss was in 2009. They don't play that often. Again, you have these cross-conference and then cross-division games that just don't happen, but every 4 years. And then back in 2005, the Panthers won 30-3. Carolina Panthers draft class is coming together, and man, starting to see the pieces, and we're going to talk about the impacts of a few of these guys on here, primarily round 2 and round 3 pick for the Panthers in just a second. Tetairoa McMillan looking the part, finally getting into the end zone, actually doing it twice. He's probably left 100 yards on the field, whether it's pass interference calls that came against him or drop balls. Still something to be desired, but he's showing you every bit that he is that true number one target that we've been lacking and wanting. He's got a bright future. Speaking of Nick Scorton and Princely Umanmielen, Pat Jones officially out for the season with the lower back injury, outside linebacker for the Panthers. That now puts a lot of pressure on both of these guys. I've said that if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I am in buy mode now at the trade deadline versus selling. Do they go out? Do they try to find another outside linebacker? Safety we've talked about. Panthers have some money to spend. So we'll see how that plays out. But a big opportunity for Scorton and Umanmielen. We're going to need something because Pat Jones was definitely the best outside linebacker this team had. DJ Wonnum still available. Trevor Etienne, though, bits and pieces, really good in the run game, kickoff return. Seen a lot from Lathan Ransom on defense, starting to get more into the fold. A little bit of Cam Jackson, Mitchell Evans making some catches, got a few touchdowns. Couple that is Jimmy Horn Jr. How about Jimmy Horn Jr. finding his spot as well? Really important to get him involved in the speed and the dynamic that he brings with the motion, jet sweeps. It's just something new. And, man, you saw him come out of the second half last week with that catch down the sideline. This guy's good. Talking about the New York Jets, looking at their draft class. So Armand Mimbo, offensive tackle. Now, some folks thought that the Carolina Panthers may potentially or could have potentially drafted him. We know that wasn't the case, but right before us, Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU. Azariah Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State. Looked at a lot of his tape when he was coming out this year. Arian Smith, the wide receiver out of Georgia. Malachi Moore, safety out of Alabama. Francisco Mayogoa, linebacker out of Miami, Florida. And then Tyler Barron, a defensive end out of Miami, Florida as well. So that is your New York Jets draft class. And my New York Jets fans likely know way more than I do about the status of your draft class and where these guys sit. But first year, getting into the groove, figuring this thing out, Aaron Glenn running the show, focusing a decent amount on the defensive side of the ball as they try to find their identity up there in New York. All right, let's talk about last week for both of these teams. As we mentioned, man, Denver Broncos, New York Jets in London, 13-11 final. So the Jets had a tough loss. Man, I mean, the effort was there. They had a strong showing, so they're forcing a takeaway and held the Broncos to just 13 points. They had a safety in the third quarter to give the Jets an early 11-10 lead. Offensively, they could not get the ball going at all. I mean, it was just a lot of miscues, not a lot of production. Justin Fields was sacked 9 times on the day. Not a great day at all for them, and I think they know that. But Denver got the go-ahead field goal late in the fourth quarter. They took the 13-11 lead. Then Jets had a final drive with a chance to win, ended with Justin Fields was sacked on fourth down near midfield, sealing the wall. So, we're going to look at the last 5 games for these teams here in just a minute. But they've been competitive. That's another reason why I don't think Carolina is going to come in here and just expect to win. New York Jets have been a competitive football team this season. Talking about the Carolina Panthers, of course, Panthers fans know about last week, a 30-27 win over the Dallas Cowboys to get to 3-3, 500. Something that the Panthers just haven't been in almost 4 years this late in the season. Trying to figure it out. Ryan Fitzgerald, really good game, had the 33-yard field goal as time expired. It was a 15-play, 71-yard drive. Bryce Young, very efficient on the day, right under 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. The one interception wasn't his fault. It was right off of Tedrow McMillan's hands. I still propose that we do not credit those type of interceptions to the quarterback, put it somewhere else in the stat book. Very effective, but the story of the day, of course, Rico Dowdle, who unfortunately did not win NFC offensive player of the week. That went to Bijan Robinson, who had a very similar stat line. It is what it is, but I feel like Rico Dowdle should have gotten it. Whatever. Very productive day, most scrimmage yards by a Panthers history. That's the type of the production that we got from him. Had a nice 36-yard receiving touchdown. Panthers dominated on the ground again. over 200 yards, only giving up 31 to Javonte Williams, who at the time was like number 2 in the NFL. Coming into this game, so big story, the Carolina Panthers undefeated at home, having a lot of success, no doubt about it. All right, let's take a look at the last 5 games for both of these teams. Carolina Panthers, like we said, coming off a win over Dallas Cowboys, 30-27. They took care of business fighting back against the Miami Dolphins 2 weeks ago, 27-24. We were there. It was fun. Panthers got down early, 17-0, battled back and won. We're going to pretend that the week it came against, I guess, week 4 game against New England didn't happen, 42-13. Very tough showing there. Dominated division rival Atlanta Falcons 30-0. And then that loss that came up just a little bit short, 27-22. I went back and looked at the Carolina Panthers points off of turnovers, directly points off of turnovers, points that were meaning like they got a turnover and scored immediately, fumble return, whatever it is, and then turnovers that led to points. So you turn the ball over and then the team eventually scores. Special team scores. We've had one, and then the one return off of special teams where New England got the ball down to like the 14. Panthers have given up 55 points in that category. You start doing the math, you take that away. Now, I understand if you do this, probably you're going to get another drive or two, maybe some points go on, but you remove those points. Panthers defense is really giving up about 15 points per game right now. That's how good that they've been playing. I know there's some deficiencies in the passing game, but it's okay. I think this team's finding it. They're going to really have to find it with Pat Jones out, have to figure out a way to get pressure. What better opportunity than to do that against the New York Jets? But Panthers, again, won 3 of the last 4 and then 3 of the last 5. So really good spot there. Jets, we know, have lost every game. Tough loss to Denver, lost to Dallas. It was actually a close game in my mind with Miami. I mean, they played Tampa here 29-27, pretty tough. And that was the Wilkes-Baker trash talk game that went on and lost to Buffalo. Let's talk about the headlines. So defining this as a trap game. I don't define this as a trap game. I talked about that. You would have to have the Carolina Panthers being very heavily favored in this game for me to call this a trap game, for them to believe that they're just going to walk in here and get the win no matter what. I don't think so. I think they're way too focused right now. And so I do not see this as a trap game for this team, despite some folks that may believe that. You look at the New York Jets quarterback crucible. Is this the last stand for Justin Fields? I don't know that I would go that far, but it is a tough position for him. And we're going to talk about one of his stat lines here in a second, but he hasn't thrown an interception. Like, that's a positive, but he hasn't been able to do a lot. And you're now talking about the potential absence of 2 of the Jets' top targets heading into this game is not going to make it an easy task for them. You have the two-headed monster with Chuba Hubbard versus an elite defense. Man, I'm excited to see Rico Dowdle. I still believe that Rico Dowdle needs to be the featured back. There's no reason why. It's not a knock on Chuba Hubbard. It's not saying that Chuba Hubbard still isn't the future or anything, and Rico Dowdle knows this is Chuba's team, but you got to feed the hot hand. You really do. And, I mean, I know part of the conversation with this is also, well, if Rico's having that much success, it's got to be on the offensive line, so why not, Chuba could also have that. I don't know. I think you're going to have a good mix, and I'm talking 15 touches apiece, maybe even 20 in favor of Rico. I mean, that's what you'd love to see, is the Panthers get up, just running the ball down their throats, if possible, opening this thing up so that you can just keep feeding the 2 of them. But that's going to be a big storyline. Can they continue to see the success that they have in the run game, whether it's Dowdle or Chuba Hubbard back there or ETN every now and then? The London hangover, if you want to call it that, Garrett Wilson's absence. So the Jets are playing this game at home, kind of a short turnaround. I mean, when you think about traveling back, coming from London, it is a lot in comparison to traveling here. You also have likely absence of Garrett Wilson with the hyperextended knee. It's going to be a big story, man. And unfortunately for the Jets, you look at one of your top targets not being available. What does that mean? It does kind of limit you on the offense. So we'll see how that plays out for them. And yeah, you talk about a quarterback comparison. I don't know that I'd say there's a big quarterback comparison, but there's definitely folks within the Panthers fan base that at one point looked at Justin Fields as, the potential quarterback to come here, whether it was way back when he was being drafted or in recent years when you looked at the struggles from Bryce Young and things not panning out, like, hey, maybe we bring Justin Fields in as competition. But to me, this is Bryce Young's chance to continue to build on what he's done. Just have to limit the turnovers, which continues to be a focal point for this team. Take a look at the standings. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, one of the best teams in the NFL right now at 5-1. Head in the NFC South. Atlanta Falcons picked up a win. They are 3-2. Carolina is 3-3. And the New Orleans Saints sit at 1-5. For the AFC East, Panthers are going through the AFC gauntlet here. They had the break with the Cowboys, but it's really been Patriots, Dolphins, break, Jets, then the Bills. They'll go through the AFC gauntlet and be done. But right now, Patriots lead the way at 4-2. Bills at 4-2, Dolphins at 1-5, and the Jets at 0-6. Upcoming schedule, as I mentioned, after the Jets, Panthers will take on Buffalo Bills at home, travel up to Green Bay on November 2nd, then have the New Orleans Saints at home on November 9th, travel to the Falcons to close out the Falcons for this season on November 16th, and then Monday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers. Panthers have a late bye this year. But, again, looking at this schedule, the Panthers can get to 4-3. They can split one between Buffalo and Green Bay at 5-4. Pick up a win over the Saints. You're talking 6-4. There's a good chance they can beat the Falcons again, despite the Falcons trending 7-4, 7-5 in that range through the first 12 games of the season. I guess it'd really be 8-4 or 7-5. I would take that as a Carolina Panthers fan because then you've got 5 games to go, the chance to get into the playoffs, and no doubt you would be in contention with the way things stack up. Looking at the Jets, when are they going to get their first win? I don't think they'll go winless. After the Panthers, they'll take on the Bengals. That seems like a prime opportunity for them to get one if they don't get it this week. October 26th, that is a game on the road. Then they've got the Browns after a bye on November 9th. Then a short week to take on the Patriots, Thursday Night Football, November 13th. Baltimore, man, maybe then again, Baltimore could be the one, but by then maybe Lamar Jackson's back. And then the Atlanta Falcons. All right, let's hop over, as we always do, with our NFL Pro preview. We like to go out to NFL Pro. They do not sponsor the show, but I will say I enjoy going out here and getting the insights and data that is available for us and for you tuning into this. Let's try to make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Hopefully, be able to see this. Everyone that's watching, which we appreciate. Panthers putting up 22 points per game right now, which is 19th. Jets putting up 20.5, which is 25th in the NFL. The point differential spread, -14 for the Panthers is 22nd in the NFL. -47 for the Jets is 27th. Record in close games, the Panthers are 2-1, lost to the Cardinals, and then the Jets are 0-4. Average margin of victory for the Panthers, 12 points. That ranks 9th in the NFL. It helps when you shut out a team 30-0. Turnover differential, -4, which is 26th in the NFL for the Panthers. The Jets are -7, ranked 31st. Total penalties, Panthers are not heavily penalized, knock on wood. 36 on the year, which is 7th. The Jets have 44, which ranks 20th. We'll look at the spreads at the end on predictions, but New York Jets did open up as a 1.5-point favorite. That did swing back to Carolina. Carolina now a 1.5-point favorite. Let's talk about all the insights, then we'll get into the numbers in just a second. So Rico Dowdle has had at least 200 scrimmage yards in each of his last 2 games, making him the first undrafted player in NFL history to do so in consecutive games. With 200-plus scrimmage yards in Week 7, Dowdle can join Le'Veon Bell and Hall of Famer Walter Payton as the only players in NFL history with at least 200 scrimmage yards in 3 consecutive games. That alone is a reason why I want to feature Rico Dowdle this week. Big time. Let's talk about Justin Fields. Justin Fields has lost each of his 5 starts this season, despite not throwing an interception in any of them. Only Caleb Williams, who did so in 9 straight games in 2024, has a longer streak of quarterback starts with a loss and no interception within a season since 1970. On to Bryce Young and the New York Jets defense. Bryce Young has completed 28 of his 50 passes for 290 yards, a league high 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions against man coverage. Really good. Young has thrown 20 of his 50 attempts, about 38.5% to Tedro McMillan, who has hauled in 11 of those targets for 167 yards. That's second most in the NFL and 1 touchdown. Jets defense has played man on 35.8% of coverage. That's the 7th highest in the NFL, and they've allowed 7.4 yards per pass. So good opportunity for Bryce if he wants to sling the rock around. The Jets offense versus the Panthers defense. Jets offense has allowed a pressure rate of 51.4% this season. That's bad. That's the highest in the NFL. And over 11% points higher than any other team. So there's a big gap. This would also be the highest pressure rate allowed in the season since at least 2018. Hard to believe the Panthers didn't have a higher pressure rate Bryce's rookie season. The Panthers defense has pressured quarterbacks on 24.1% of their dropbacks, the lowest in the league. In contrast to their upcoming opponent, the pressure rate would be the lowest by any defense in a season. So you're looking at a team that's giving up a lot of pressure and a team that's not generating any pressure at all. We know the Panthers have to get to the quarterback. Really good opportunity to see it unfold this week. You stop the run, you get into passing downs. Eventually, you want to do that. You got to be able to contain Justin Fields. Rico Dowdle, and one more stat for him. Rico Dowdle, the Panthers lead the NFL with 5.7 yards per carry on design runs from under center. Their 60.4% success rate on such runs ranks 3rd highest, trailing Atlanta and Washington with a combined 19 under center design runs. In the past 2 weeks, Rico Dowdle's totaled a league high 256 rushing yards, more than twice as many as Jonathan Taylor across 30 carries from under center, and his 8.5 yards per carry across that span is the most in the NFL. I mean, dude's been ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Nobody in their right mind can tell you they saw this coming from any angle. Not at all. I don't even think Rico could have. Sauce Gardner is, speaking of Sauce, last stat here, Sauce Gardner is induced tight coverage for a total of 2 minutes and 6 seconds this season. What a weird stat. Longest among all cornerbacks in 4 more seconds than the next cornerback, Riley Moss. Gardner has forced a tight window on 50% of his targets, the 2nd highest rate of any player targeted at least 15 times. Pat Surtain leads that stat in the NFL. All right, hopping back through here. Take a look at the key advantages, a lot of them in favor for the Panthers. So running under center, the Panthers are number 2 in the NFL. Running inside the tackles, they're number 7. Overall pass efficiency, they're number 4. And rushing efficiency, number 4. Design runs, number 2. And passing against the pressure, number 16. Those are all categories the Jets are not that great in. Panthers defense against the Jets offense. So rushing under shotgun, the Panthers have the number 4 defense there. Panthers are not great in rushing against a stacked box. That is something that the Jets excel in. They also are really good in the quick passing game. We know there's a lot of coverage or gaps Ejiro likes to leave. Against quarterback scramble, Panthers are number 9, and rushing outside the tackles, number 8. And these are their defensive stats there. We're not going to get too far into the weeds in those. We already looked at the matchup insights, your player projections for this week. Bryce Young projected 200 yards. 1 touchdown, 19 rushing yards. Rico Dowdle only projected the 60 rushing yards. I mean, you got to split some stuff, so maybe that's what it is. T-Mac with 5 catches, 66 yards. XL with 1 for 20 or 2 for 20. JT Sanders, if he's back, 2.5, or well, I guess 3 receptions for 25 yards. Jets, Justin Field, 194, 1 touchdown. Breece Hall, 81 yards projected on the ground. Josh Reynolds, if available, 2 receptions for 38 yards, 3 receptions, 38 yards. Allen Lazard, 2 for 227. Mason Taylor, 4 for 36. Tight ends can find some success. Tight ends have been successful against the Carolina Panthers. All right. Looking at the first injury report, remember to continue to track this as we move along through the week. Of course, news for the Panthers is Pat Jones is out, so he did not participate. Your limited participants are Caleb Evans, J.C. Horn with the shoulder, Chuba Hubbard with the calf, Taylor Moton with his elbow. Hopefully he's back. J.T. Sanders, ankle. Hopefully he's back. Turk Wharton with the toe. Hopefully he's back as well. Jalen Coker was a full participant, as was Austin Corbett. A lot of moves and decisions to be made for the Carolina Panthers in the state of the roster. We're going to talk about that in a separate video this week. For the Jets, 4 people did not participate. Cam Jones with the hip, Josh Reynolds with the hip, concerns there. Quantez Stiggers with the cornerback with the hip, Garrett Wilson with the knee. Sounds like Wilson probably not playing. We'll see. And then Josh Reynolds, going to monitor that as well. Their 2 top receivers. Michael Carter, North Carolina, battling concussion. He was a full participant. And Jamarcus Weston was a full participant as well. We're trying to get the passing stats to pull up, hopefully. Maybe not. It's okay if they don't pull up. We'll hop over here, take a look at the comparison for both of these teams. For the Carolina offense, ranks number 19th in the NFL in points. Jets giving up 28.3 per game, 28th in the NFL. Panthers offense putting up 330 yards compared to 330 allowed by the Jets. 5.1 yards per play. Jets giving up 5.5, slightly better than the Panthers as far as their rankings at 20 and 22. Third down efficiency, Panthers 39% on offense. Jets do have a good third down defense, giving up 36%, which is 9th in the NFL. Red zone scoring, again, touchdowns, 63%, 15th in the NFL. For the Panthers, 59% for the Jets, which ranks 18th. Jets, we talked about 20 points per game, 20.5, that's 25th. The Panthers are giving up 24.3. That's 21st in the NFL. The offense is only putting up 279 yards. Panthers are only allowing 308, which is 10th in the NFL. 4.7 yards per play for the Jets. Panthers are giving up 5.6. Their third down efficiency is 30%, about 30.26, which is 31st in the NFL. Panthers defense is 12th at 38%. Red zone scoring, touchdowns if they can get there, 61.5%, 16th in the NFL. And we are allowing a touchdown 60% of the time, but you have to factor in at least 2 of those were off of turnovers and just bad field position set up for the defense, but it still factors in. It's part of it. The rushing attack, Panthers number 4 rushing attack in the NFL now, 142 yards per game. Jets giving up 130. Panthers only allowing 94.5 yards, under 100. What a change year over year. That's number 9 in the NFL. Jets have a really good rushing attack with 135 yards. That's 5th. They're right behind us. They're a really good rushing attack. We know what they're going to have to do this week to be able to make that happen. And we talked about the passing attack between these two. We're going to try, if we can get it here. I'll actually like this a little bit better anyways. Pause whatever's going on this side and close this out. But points per game, we talked about the passing yards or yards per game, time of possession, all that fun stuff. Your matchup here, head-to-head, Bryce Young, 1,150 yards on the season, 61.8% completion, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Justin Fields, 799 yards, 65 completion percent, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Brees Hall having a good year, 410 yards, 88 carries, no touchdowns yet. And then we know about Dowdle's unreal start, 472 yards. I mean, just shot out of a cannon. T-Mac, 380 on the season, 27 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson, 36 receptions, 395 yards, and 4 touchdowns. We broke down the injury report. I'm trying to get this pulled up here a little bit easier. There we go. Chuba Hubbard with 217, ETN with 76, Bryce Young with a few as well. Tommy Tremble, the second leading pass catcher, 126, Bryson Tremaine, 108, Rico Dowdle, 104. A lot of catches, a lot of distribution. I think those numbers are going to shift a little bit with XL Jimmy Horn Jr. having more yards than XL, a lot of it coming on pass, but just shows you the state of where the Panthers are right now. Getting a lot of good blocking, I will tell you that. A lot of good blocking out of the tight ends, as well as wide receiving core here. For the rushing attack, 410. Justin Fields with 235 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, you're going to have to be able to stop him. Really good rushing attack there. Garrett Wilson, we talked about. Tight end, Taylor, 177 yards. Breece Hall, 150. Their second leading receiver, 72, is Reynolds, and we talked about the potential for him being out. A lot of fumbles, 9 total fumbles on the season, 6 of them lost. Jamie Sherwood leading the way, really good linebacker, Steven Cisco, Sauce Gardner. So, all right, man, let's get back into, we looked at the injury report. Actually, we'll quickly switch over here. We'll take a look at the depth chart this week for both of these teams, and then we'll get back into our final scores and predictions. Justin Fields, Breece Hall, you know about Garrett Wilson probably being out. They have Alvin Lazard as a backup, Tyler Johnson, Josh Reynolds potentially out. Arian Smith steps up then. Irvin Charles, I mean, he's out right now, so it's just a mess. Mason Taylor, Andrew Beck, Olu Fashuna, left tackle, John Simpson, left guard, Joe Tipman, center. I don't know, they have him listed twice on ESPN, so that's weird. Armando Mimbu, tackle. On the defensive side of the ball, Will McDonald, Harrison Phillips, Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Kiko Mayugwo, Jamian Sherwood, Cam Jones, Sauce Gardner, Malachi Moore, Andrew Cisco, Brandon Stevens. And I guess, I forget they have so many Michael Carters. Michael Carter II. Oh, man, they have Michael Carter II. And I think about Michael Carter, the returner. I forgot them having both, one Duke, one North Carolina. Small world. Take a look at the Panthers. Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard, as of now, we'll see what Sunday looks like. T-Mac, XL. I think Hunter Renfrow is going to get bumped down with Jalen Coker. I think Jalen Coker steps up. We'll see. JT and Jimmy Horn. JT Sanders, hopefully getting him back. Ike Ekwonu, Damian Lewis, Cade Mays, Austin Corbett working his way back as well. Brady Christensen and Taylor Moton. Hopefully T-Mac. Taylor Moton's coming back as well. T-Mo. Ashawn Robinson, Bobby Brown III, Derek Brown. Probably going to see hopefully some Turk. Nick Scorton, Christian Roseboom, Trevin Wallace, DJ Wonham, Mike Jackson, Trayvon Merrick, Nick Scott, J.C. Horn, and Charles Smith-Wade. So, yeah, Scorton definitely going to step in. You're going to get a little bit of Thomas and Kuhn. You also, like we talked about, as we go through our depth chart here, I don't know why this pulled up this way. I'm looking for this just posted really weird. So, dang, TJ Wonham, Princely. Yeah, they don't have him. So, on the Panthers practice squad, which they don't have listed on what we're looking at now, Boogie Basham, I think, is the other name that you'll want to keep at the top of your list. All right, folks, team rankings, injury report. We did it all. We looked at the depth chart. Let's get into the numbers and our final prediction. Appreciate you guys hanging around this long if you are here. ESPN giving the New York Jets a 48.5% chance to win. Carolina Panthers, 51.1% chance. We talked about the 1.5-point favorite. I think the Carolina Panthers are locked in. I think they can take care of business. That's not to say that I think the Jets couldn't pull this off. I'm just not going to pick them to win this week. We've got Carolina Panthers going up, taking care of business, fighting their road demons, winning 27-13. I think this is going to be a week where a lot of folks predict the Panthers to win this game. That does scare me a little bit, but I think the Panthers locked in, take care, figure it out, get out of there with a win. 4-3 winning record. All right, folks, as always, appreciate you guys tuning in. This is Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good